Hello, everyone. Welcome to Alive, my search for the best ways to live. I'm your host. My name is Giga Jr., and this show is brought to you by our good friends from Living in Style. That's at Living in Style on Instagram, or you can visit their official page at livingnstyle.com.ph. That's living, the letter N, style.com.ph. Also brought to you by the Filipino Homes Institute of Real Estate, or FIRE. If you want to get into real estate, log on to their official Facebook page at FIRE, that's Filipino Homes Institute of Real Estate, and learn how to get into real estate today. Our guest for today is a returning guest. He is the woman behind Two to Tango. Of course, I'm talking about Cattski Espina. Our topic for today is what song is this pandemic? That's coming up next. Get ready. As promised, the woman behind Two to Tango Records and Room 11 Studios, Cattski Espina.
Hello,
Hi,
hi
Kat.
Jiggy. Hello. What's
How's
up?
everything? How's everything, Kat?
Good. I mean, considering, taking it one day at a time.
It was amazing when I saw our interview. I think it was April of last year in your studios in room 11, and the conversation that we had there. And I
Mhm.
figured I needed to sort of update it because it felt like an entire world away. The last
Yeah,
time we spoke in your studios, it was an
yeah, for
entire world
sure.
away.
Yep.
How are things now, Kat, in the Cebu music industry, especially your artists at Two to Tango Records in this coronavirus?
Coronavirus. I love that. Like everyone else, it's sort of put in a halt because, we thrive on live music. So musicians and our business thrive on live music. And since we can't do that, so we're trying to survive by putting that element online. So we're putting up shows online, which is not the same, but what can we do, right? So yeah, that's been what's keeping us busy. But we're focusing on the other services like the studio services, music production. So there's still a lot of content creation that's going on.
Would
So
you would you consider things are going back to a normal, or you're far from where
no,
you were
no,
this period last year?
we are very, very far, like worlds away. Definitely. Yep.
Um, Cats, everybody is in some form of isolation and in some form of turmoil, no matter who you are, rich or
Yep.
poor, or
Yep.
maybe perhaps in different levels of financial strain, financial
Mhm.
stress, and not knowing what's happening tomorrow. This is the
Mhm.
perfect environment, I would imagine, for good songwriting. Do you
Mhm.
see great song writing now coming out of this pandemic, both locally and just music all over the world? Do you see all that great songwriting coming out because of the isolation and because of the turmoil?
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of local people writing stuff. I have my own, and we're starting to work on it. Um, there's pretty much good natural, national, international content, the songs that are coming out as well. I mean, perfect example, Folklore by Taylor Swift. So yeah, there's a lot of good, not just music. I think like good art is coming out of this. I think is a result of the coping of the stress of the uncertainty. So yeah.
Music is the sign of the times, right? When you look
Mhm.
back at, let's say, the songs of for example, the 80s,
Mhm.
it is a direct reflection of what was going on
Yep.
in the country, in the world
Mhm.
at that time.
Yeah.
When there's a, let's say, for example, a Cold War happening, you see
Mhm.
a lot of songs about the Cold War. When you see
Yeah.
that there's a revolution happening or about to have a
Mhm.
revolution, like in the
Mhm.
case of the Philippines, you sense that there's a lot of rebel songs that are coming out of the artists.
Mhm.
Um, have you seen any kind of songwriting that is in that kind of a direction? Can you point out a specific song or songs that are beginning to emerge that are sort of thematically about this crisis?
There's a lot, but
Go,
it's politically charged.
go
They're on
ahead.
YouTube. Yeah.
Maybe
So
you can mention that.
um, there's a bunch of artists in Manila
Hmm.
who pulled themselves together and came up with this rap revolution song
Okay.
complaining about the government and how the
Okay.
pandemic has somehow magnified their inconsistencies or their income whatever, so they're
Mhm.
very incompetent or whatever. So there are a lot of that actually. It's around, it's on YouTube. It gets attention.
Mhm.
But you know how things are these days. Some other group will do something else, and that will be covered. That will be silence, and this other one will be noisy. So yeah, there's a lot, Jigs, and you can expect more because you see, we've written from our end. We've written a lot of songs during the pandemic, but since we couldn't produce them because we couldn't go out of the house, and now that we can, so we're starting to work on it. So you can expect that there's gonna come out. There's more of this that's coming out, and this will, because I don't think it'll take another century, Siguro, to talk about whatever happened to us in the last 3 months or 4 months, because this is universal. This is really something to talk about, so that our children can learn from it or something.
Yeah, in fact, they say that they're not. There's not going to be just a chapter written about this, so they're going to have to redo every single educational book, and
Exactly.
maybe lots of books will be written about this. Kat, writing, especially songwriting, is some sort of a release, right? Do you
Catharsis,
recommend
yes.
a catharsis? That's the word that I was going to use. Do you recommend writing a poem, a song, or an essay to help keep our sanity? How does one write something and maybe perhaps turn it into some sort of an artwork? Maybe perhaps a poem or
Mm,
a song or an essay or whatnot? Because a lot of people, if you notice, are going crazy. In fact,
right.
the government was just asking the church and maybe the psychologists and
Oh, you
psychiatrists
read that?
to help
Okay.
them with their
Yeah.
mental problems, right? So is songwriting or just writing in general a form of release that will help you keep it together?
Yeah, it's also necessary
Hmm.
because it's not just that, because we're documenting what we are experiencing, and this is a collective experience, and we
Hmm.
gotta document this. We gotta turn this into art, and for us to learn from, for our children to learn from. It's very important that we document our experience, not just to cope, but to also um, to have that sense of belongingness. That we're going through the same thing. So if you have the gift, if you have the urge to write or to write, whatever, to draw something, just do it. Anyway, you have time on your hands because you're in quarantine.
Kat, I know you know you even I think conducted a songwriting class, a crash course on songwriting, and we have
Mhm.
a lot of people out there who are actual artists, actual singers,
Mhm.
actual poets and all that stuff. But some of us are actually just regular people who would
Mhm.
like to write something like an essay, a poem, or a
Mhm.
song. What do you recommend that they do aside from just doing it? Maybe you can
Mhm.
teach them how to sort of do it so some sort of form or shape will
Mhm.
happen and not just random just random writing.
Yeah. So it's important that you read a little bit about how writing should be, so that
Hmm.
you'll learn the rules, and so you also
Okay.
learn how to break them.
Okay.
Um, I'm not. I didn't go to school for songwriting. Nobody taught me songwriting. The people that I listened to, the artists that I was listening to, that's where I learned how to write songs. But for me to be really good at what I do, I have to read the rules. I had to
Okay.
learn. Like I had to read form. I had to learn musical theory, um, forms of songwriting, figures of speech, so that you have, these are your weapons, and these are what you use when you write. It's important so that it's not just, you can't just write without form. You will not be understood.
Hmm.
You can't write without discipline. um, there's a way to it so that you can communicate. At the end of the day, you'd want to be read. At the end of the day, you want to affect someone's emotion. You want to express yourself, so it's better that you know the rules. You have your weapons, you have your strategies, so that you have a good output, because it's
So
not it's not it's not journal writing that you can just put anything.
so do you recommend like the basics? What's the basic thing
Exactly,
that
yeah, the basic.
what's the basic thing that you tell everyone? Go ahead.
uh First, you have to learn the form.
Okay.
And then
When you say form, what do you mean? Like the art form, meaning to say if it's a haiku, if it's a song,
yeah,
if it's a
yeah.
essay,
If it's a
is that what
song,
you
so
mean by form?
yeah, you have to structure. You have to learn structure. Yeah, and rules like poetic license. How far can you use that?
Are you
Um,
there? Yeah.
yeah, I'm here.
Rules. Okay.
Yeah, like I was saying, poetic license, which is very important.
Hmm.
How far can you go? How far can you use that?
Okay.
The usage of figures of speech, imagery, irony, things like that. Very important.
What makes writing in general catharsis, a catharsis for a lot of people? What is it about writing that sort of has a release valve that sort of just releases all that pressure? What do you think happens when you write? Do you have any theories about that?
Well, for me, when I write, I only write when I'm going through something. I don't sit down and plan something and write something.
Okay.
Today I will write about my breakfast. I don't do that.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I write because I feel something inside and then I need to let it out. So,
So you don't write on a regular basis. What I'm trying to say is you haven't figured out the rhythm of your life that allows you to sort of predict that, hey, like maybe at these times when it's the rainy season, when there's rain and it's cold and I'm all alone, I write more. You haven't figured it out. So anytime
no,
you can come up.
I write every day,
Okay, okay,
but it doesn't get finished every day.
okay.
Yeah, I sit down and write something, at least a line or two every single night before I sleep. So that's something that's called discipline, and it became a habit already. Sometimes when the stars align, you have a nice line, a really nice line that you wanna capitalize on and base your story from there, and then that's it. You work on it.
When you say you write a line, do you mean write a line for that one song that you're trying to make, or you could have just random stuff that are not
Random
related?
stuff, yeah, random stuff, and you have a nice line and say, yeah, right, this one is what I'm feeling right now, and I want to work on this.
I
Yeah.
asked you this earlier, Kat, and I want to ask you this again. What song is this pandemic? And if there's already a song, a specific song that you have found, although the year is not over yet and the pandemic's not over yet, it could be happening for the
Hmm.
next year or two still, according to the World Health Organization. It's going to be around for the next 2 years. What is the one song you feel that best describes this pandemic right now? A song that was created during these quarantine times.
um the Rage Against the Machine songs. Like, yeah, they have so many. um it's a it could be a lot. It depends on how you see it. I mean, for me, I'm trying not to be so negative about it. I'm trying to see the bright side still, so I'm trying to be hopeful about it. So to the point wherein I take it as an opportunity to look inside of myself and see, you know you have now the opportunity. You have no choice but to deal with yourself. You don't have any other distraction. Netflix can't do it all the time, or your Spotify can't do it all the time. You just sometimes just run out of things to do in your own place, and you are forced to deal with yourself.
Out of
So,
all the things that you've written, Kat, out of all the
mm,
things that you've written during these quarantine times,
mm,
what have you observed from your thoughts, from your songwriting? What have you seen so far, not for yourself personally, and for
mm,
those around you in the songwriting sort of clique, the songwriting group of people that
mm.
you're around with?
There's more self-reflection for sure.
Okay.
Like I said, you are now forced to deal with yourself. Before, people write songs about their significant others or the people that they are interested in. They write about their crushes and all of a sudden people are writing about going inside, things that they're going through, the things that they've realized during quarantine. So there's a lot of self-reflection, which is good. Even that low-key fuck 2020 song, even if it's
Hmm.
like dancey and like super pop EDM ish, it has a lot of self-reflection. even if it's like super simple. Try to listen to it. Low key, fuck 2020. It's a pretty good song. Yeah.
uh, so you think that's one of the songs that stood out so far in the songs that have been released for
Yeah,
this year?
I discovered it on TikTok. Yeah.
Do you have a TikTok account? Kat?
Of
Can
course,
I
but
see?
I don't do it because I don't like, oh my god, it's so awkward, but I don't do the things. I just lurk around because it's fun.
I'm curious. You have a song that came out a few weeks ago called "Now." Was that
Mm.
written during these quarantine
No.
times?
No, no, no. That was an old song that was an old song. I just figured it's nice to release it. So I finished it during quarantine.
So you finished. So was the song were the lyrics already completed before
Yeah,
the
yeah,
quarantine time?
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe you can tell us about that song because that's the song is getting a lot of attention lately. About what that song is all about and when you wrote it and why you wrote it and the process in which it came out. It came up with that beautiful song.
Sure. I read the book The Power of Now by Eckhart
Oh,
Tolle.
Eckhart
Yeah.
Tolle. I read it years
Yeah,
ago too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was because of that, because I wanted to react in a manner wherein, because we don't, because you know how our OPM songs sound, like the love songs, they seem to say, I love you forever, for I'll
I
give
love you
you,
forever.
oh, like I'll give you forever, like it's always like a common theme in love songs, in Filipino love songs. I'm like, why do they always do that? Like, I don't
Very
believe in,
Maui, right?
yeah, like forever, like always. So I figured I will use forever in a different way.
Okay.
And then I found an angle there after reading The Power of Now. And I tried to turn it into a love song. So it's like, the lyrics would go, there's a reason why we love each other now, but this doesn't have to be forever. So like, might as well live in the now and forget about what's going to happen in the future. Just enjoy each other now. So I just turn it into something relatable and slightly shallow.
It's funny that that song came out now because that song now is actually perfect for these times.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you can put it that way. It was a
When
love
you
song though.
when there when there's nothing else to do but now and this moment and take advantage of this moment right here right now because we
Mhm.
don't know what tomorrow brings. We
Exactly.
never expected this first of all to come here
Yeah,
to be here.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's the uncertainty of the future that gives you stress. It's
They say
the
that the stress now is the distance between where you are and
hmm
where you want to be.
yeah,
That's stress. If
yeah.
you live in now and not
Yep,
think of where you will be, you have less stress. The further
exactly.
you are from where you want to be, the more stressed out you are. And
Yep.
speaking of stress, cats,
Mm.
um, uh, a lot of people are wanting to watch live concerts again because
Mm-hmm.
a live concert, an event, is sort of like a stress reliever, right? Most of
Yeah.
the events that we have here in Cebu are on weekends, and
Yep.
after 5 days of working really hard, you go out on a Friday night, on a Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
go to the bars or clubs or venues and watch artists perform as a form
Mm-hmm.
of stress release.
Yeah.
What is going on now with the live performance scene? I know that some outlets are trying or forcing themselves to have like live performances, but really, give us the real story on the ground. What's happening when it comes to live performances?
So the bars are closed.
Okay.
They're closed. I don't know if it's permanently. Um, there are a few that are operating, but in the food, because of their food, they're operating because of their food, and they still do deliveries. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. I think Ayala tried
Yeah.
to put up an acoustic thing, but and the audience would be socially distant. I think they did that last weekend or something.
Yeah. How did that go? Did you get anything?
I think it wasn't a show. It was just like, two people playing acoustic. It's for like for ambience purposes, I think, or like there's something going on that just to have that semblance that there's something going on. But it wasn't a show, for sure. So, and I think there were a bit of people, but socially distant. So I think that's where we're going. I think the malls, we're gonna try that soon, definitely.
How about online? Because I see a lot of people performing online, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
great artists, big artists, global artists, and even local artists
Mm.
that have used certain platforms to perform online. Is
Mm-hmm.
there like a sort of a favorite platform now for artists and for people to watch their favorite performers perform live online?
Um, the platform is always Facebook.
Okay,
In our case, we sell online shows for companies who want to enliven their Facebook pages. So we
okay,
give them a package. We give them like, this is the show. We have someone host it and we run it for them via another platform, and then we put it on their Facebook pages. And it's really
okay,
to promote their Facebook, to promote a promo. So we're selling that kind of shows now.
okay.
It's really that we transferred the live element to online. It's working out. I mean, we had a few clients during the pandemic. We're still negotiating for more shows like that. But that's really the game now. There is a bit of, but it's not the same. Like, it's really not the same. It could get frustrating. It could get frustrating. There was one time that I had to do it for a client, and then I wasn't feeling it. But you were supposed to do it, so it's frustrating. It's annoying.
So how does it work? Like, you perform in a studio, and then uh, the uh, the
No, you
employees
perform.
of
No, you perform at home. You
okay, you
send
perform
them,
at home, and then
they put that on their Facebook pages.
who will watch that? The employees of the company?
No. So we did a show for Rose Pharmacy, for example, just recently. We
No.
did a show. Rose
Okay.
Pharmacy had a promo of their anniversary, and they had like, they wanted to do online discounts and all that. So we used their Facebook page, which had like a couple million followers, and performed live there using a platform called StreamYard, something like that. StreamYard, or yeah, and then we put, it's like a show. There's a host, and then we perform, and then that's projected. That's for the Rose Pharmacy followers. And we
So
promote their sales.
so imagine you're imagining a million or so Rose Pharmacy followers are watching that. So that's sort of like your perceived audience. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
yeah, yeah. So only 10% will watch. That's just the analytics. Only 10% of your following will
But
watch.
that's still a lot of people,
Exactly.
right?
That's
Or
still a lot of
10% of one
people for
million is
a,
still a hundred
yeah,
thousand people.
yeah. So that's what Rose Pharmacy did. So um
So in a way, you have performed to 100,000 people
yes.
live.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends, because we can see the analytics. If a lot of people are
Okay.
online, they're very engaging. So that's when so that's the beauty of live performances, I guess, because you have the data after. You can analyze it. So for marketing people, they can analyze if that live show was effective or not. But it's supposed to do a purpose of selling products and services. It's not just to
In
entertain.
in terms of performing online,
Mm,
let's use the online classes as an example. Teaching in front of a bunch of students in a classroom
mm-hmm,
is a world apart, is a world away from teaching a bunch of students online. There's so
mm-hmm.
many things that cannot be covered by uh, teaching in front of a
Exactly.
class in a classroom and switching it to an online setting.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of adjustments uh, are you doing, or are the online performers doing to sort of recreate a live performance? I'm sure you've already started performing online even before
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic, right? But I'm sure this pandemic has sort of like stirred up your brains into figuring out how to perform uh, online that will sort of recapture what it is to perform live in front of a crowd
Mm-hmm.
on a stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that you guys are doing to sort of make up for not being able to perform online and not have a venue and not have a crowd in front of you?
Um, you really can't. You really can't sort of copy or mimic the effect of live energies you're in front of a crowd. That's really it can't be done. It simply can't be done. So um we have other factors that we consider to make sure that we have audience, like time and you know which parts of which days we are more effective or things like that. And then in terms of performing, we have to up our game by being more engaging and being more funny or being like more animated. So it's hard. It's like you doubly work. It's double. Double effort for you, because you can't even get a reaction. You can't feel the crowd. You're just talking to a screen. So when I was performing live for an audience a couple of months ago for CSAT, like the Cebu Crisis Assistance Team, um, someone was doing a video of me facing the screen while doing the performance. And while I watched that video looking at me, I looked like I was so stressed. Like I'm like, what? I'm not having fun at all. Like it was so stressful. Like it is really, because it's double effort. You have to like make up for it, because you know it's just different. Because we feed off when we perform. We feed off from the energy of the crowd. It's a symbiotic relationship. We play, you react, we get that energy, we play again. So it's like it's communication, connection, and then none of that for live performances online. So we try, but we don't really know the effect. There is a wall. You are a screen, Jigs. You are a screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could do this one live like we once did April of last year. But there
Yeah.
are some people who are introverted and don't really mind if they're performing all alone in front of a screen instead of a crowd. I guess this will work for those kinds of
Yeah.
people who don't really need a crowd to perform, right? Because I know a lot of artists who'd rather not have a crowd in front of them.
Um. Well, I don't know. Some introverted artists still want that energy live.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they like it, good. I don't, honestly. It's horrible.
So most of the action now is online.
Yep.
A lot of students are online now because of online class.
Mm,
Everybody's buying online. Having ordering takeout, delivery. We
yeah.
get our information online, and
Mm-hmm.
you're performing online.
Yeah.
Um,
It's sad.
Also, the business of music, because
Mm-hmm.
music is not just what you do for fun. It's also a livelihood for a lot of people out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys selling your music in terms of the songs? I know that Spotify has been a favorite platform of yours.
Oh, yeah.
Is online sales of songs bigger and better now that everybody is online?
Yes. Even on YouTube, because we're still we're monetizing on YouTube. So
Okay.
YouTube is up. Sales on YouTube is up. Streams on Spotify is up. Even Apple Music, it's up. So that's probably a good side to it. But it's like we're earning 4 cents per play per stream on Spotify. So it would take a lot of streams before we can make actual significant money. So, but yeah, it's up for sure. It's up. People are listening to music. People are embracing content, online content. So we're just jumping on with the tides here.
Uh, this so-called new normal that everybody's
Mm-hmm.
talking about, and business online percolating,
Mm-hmm.
picking
Mm-hmm.
up. Do you see this one snowballing and becoming the new business model for music for the music industry in the Philippines, in Cebu in particular?
Um, Honestly, me, because I'm old school, but I were prepared to go that direction.
Okay.
As a businesswoman, I'm prepared to go that direction. But as a musician, I also know that music is communal. So we will always find a way to go out there and gather people and play our music for them. We just haven't found the way yet. I think the UK, they just someone in the UK had like a DJ show, and they did this. They had a separation. They were like elevated, and they had like their one square, and they would just stay there. Like family members would stay there, and I think that's, or like I don't know, like in the States, I know that they're doing the parking thing. You park and then you watch a show, which is not the same.
Drive through.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they're doing that too. So people are looking for ways to do that.
I don't know if
Online
you
will never be a thing.
I don't know if you saw that experiment in Germany where they had like experiment of a live performance. There was a band that actually performed in front of everybody, and they were using wearing people, like face shields and
Yeah,
masks, and
yeah,
there was like testing.
yeah,
Are you following that story of a
yeah,
big, like a
yeah,
popular band in Germany
yeah,
that,
yeah,
that they
yeah,
had
yeah.
as an experiment?
Yeah, that's not the only story. There's another DJ who did it in one in UK. They did
Okay,
like scaffolding, and they had a
okay,
separation. There's also one guy in Taiwan who had a big show already in a stadium.
okay.
Yeah, so people were wearing masks. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if I'm still following the story, but I'm hoping that there was no outbreak at all, because if we ever get that way, then we have a chance to go back out there. For me as a musician, it's never the same to play online. So we're looking forward to go back out there and play for the people. Music is communal. It's all about community. So if that doesn't happen, then that would be really sad.
The music industry in Cebu, you would say, is greatly affected by this pandemic. More so because
Gravely.
music is not, a necessity in terms of food
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. So people don't really are not in a celebratory mood, because music is
Mm,
sort of like a way to
mm,
express jubilation and joy and
mm.
celebration and all that stuff. What sort of governmental support have you seen so far? Is there any
Nothing.
that you have been given as far as the industry is concerned?
Nothing. No, no. I know that they're doing, like, I only get like surveys after surveys after surveys. So like, the events group, there's an events group, people in the events industry, who's also related to music. We gathered together, made something to pass to Congress. Nothing happened. We were asking for help. All the events industry players, from Plus 63 to Carpos, and then we joined in that because we were asked to join, and then it was a good cause, and we were supposed to go to Congress to present our case, and I don't know what happened. I don't think we were listened to. And I do get some surveys from DTI or whatever, and I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if we're ever getting help. But sometimes I guess we'll just have to keep going. We're lucky that we're a big cost in our overhead is really rent for our space. So far, our real estate property people are very kind to just to give us a major discount. So for us to recover, so we're lucky in that sense. But it's really bleak and uncertain. I don't know if we can survive this in the next couple of months.
The World Health Organization says it's going to be happening, like I said, in 2 years more to go before this whole thing
Mm-hmm.
is fully gone, and we don't know what's going to happen next. So the Cebu music industry was already a thriving industry. It was already
Mm-hmm.
on the uptick, but still in the early stages, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
think the industry can survive without any governmental help if this whole thing goes on. Not just
No.
for you personally, but for the whole Cebu music industry.
No, there has to be some kind of government intervention if you want to keep the industry and help the artists. There has to
And
be.
what specific kind of help does the music industry need? I know it's mostly probably financial or maybe tax
Hmm.
cuts, tax breaks, and all that
That
stuff. But do you have any idea what you need? What sort of help you require?
um it has to be, investment. They have to invest in the people who already have established infrastructure, because if that crumbles, then we're all gone. You know what I mean? Like, invest in those who invested already, their infrastructure, their structure for their business model or whatever, and so that they can continue on, just like to recover. Um, yeah, but if without government, I don't know how. I don't know. There has to be some kind of government help. I don't think in ayuda is enough. I know that there are some barangay captains or counselors who are giving musicians like 3,000 pesos, blah blah blah. That's not enough. That's not gonna do it. It's they have to, if they want those musicians to thrive, they've got to have venues to play for. So they also need to help the venues. Those venues give them their talent fees. It has to be a sustainable plan. It can't be just you give them ayuda at one time. What for? Oh, sure, you give them like a few meals, but that's not sustainable. There has to be some kind of major. They have to group together, but I don't know. Like, I don't know who's doing that. I get like links to surveys. That's all I get. But I guess they might be doing something.
So we shouldn't give the government or everyone in general a false sense that online business for the music industry will suffice and make up for
Yeah.
all the lost income that you have lost because of the pandemic, right? It's not
Yes.
enough,
Of
right?
course. No. Yeah. It's far. It's far. Not all the businesses also will not pay the same for online performances. We don't earn the same way. We're earning small because it's just online. So there has to be, but I'm hoping that the private sector will start, especially those who are pretty doing okay, like they're big enough to do okay, like the telecoms. If they could just keep sponsoring shows or whatever, or the malls, you know, if they could just start putting in entertainment in their malls or whatever, then some will have a chance. But honestly, yeah, it's hard. It's super hard.
Katz, we have a lot of people in the music industry hopefully watching this interview right now. What is your message to all of them?
Wow, that's pretty scary. Okay, um, we really don't have a choice anyway, so might as well just keep creating. And the business will just follow. That's my belief. The business will follow. We'll just have to keep creating, and the business will follow. Everybody loves music, so we have a chance. I keep telling people I had an interview like a week ago asking me, "You're non-essential. Your business is non-essential." And I'm like, "Really? What were you doing during the quarantine? You watch Netflix, right? There's music in Netflix, right? You listen to your songs, right? Your music, the music I made give you company, right? So you still think it's not essential, really?" Some people might have wanted to jump off the building where they were living in to commit suicide, but then change their minds after listening to, I don't know, maybe Vincent
Now.
Echo's song, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
really?
yeah.
So I have high hopes. I have high hopes that we'll somehow get through this. We have to. We have no choice. So keep creating, Cebu. Let's
Keep creating. That's your
keep
message.
creating. Yes.
You know, creating is an outlet, a catharsis for a lot of people, for a lot of artists out there. And I think because of this pandemic, a lot of artists like you, Cats, have become more creative and have created great songs that people love to listen to. So I think you're not only saving yourselves by creating, by writing a song, a poem, or an essay, but you're also saving somebody who's probably on the other end reading it. So
Yep.
as long as we continue creating, as long as we try to save ourselves and
Yep.
save other people, I think this whole ecosystem will flourish. And
Yeah.
hopefully, when things go back to normal, then maybe we can start rocking again.
Yeah. Yeah. And this time with learnings from the quarantine. Like, oh my God, now I learned. Okay, then we can apply it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I hope you can come up with a song. Do you have a song that you're working on in these quarantine times, Kat?
Yeah, you can expect there. We have a various artists song about surviving the quarantine, and we're coming out. We're still working on it. That's gonna come out soon. The Wongoys and Lourdes have a collab song that's I just finished working on it. It's gonna be released pretty soon, probably September 11. Don't tell them I told you. Um, yeah, but once
September
I have it,
11th.
September 11, that's our latest release from Wongoys and Lourdes. They did it together. Written
Like,
pre-quarantine, recorded during the quarantine.
so, do you have a website, a Facebook page they can go to if they want to watch your live performances, not just from yourself, but for all of the artists at Tudu Tango Records?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, to the Tango Records. We also have a website, to the tangorecords.com, where it's always updated. They can just check it out.
Okay, thank you so much, Cattski
All
Espina, the
right.
woman behind Room 11 Recording Studio and Tudu Tango Records. Thank you so much, Kat,
Thank
and
you,
you
Jigs.
keep safe. You stay safe, okay?
You
You
too,
take
you
care.
too. See you soon. All right.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
There you have it, Cattski Espina. Another episode of Alive brought to you by our good friends from Living in Style. Don't forget, it's at Living in Style on Instagram. I'm actually using this very comfortable seat courtesy of livinginstyle.com.ph. Also, you got to check out FIRE. That's the Filipino Homes Institute of Real Estate at Get Into the Real Estate Business. That industry is smoldering hot these days. Log on to Filipino Homes Institute of Real Estate or FIRE on Facebook and learn how you can get into real estate today. My name is Jiggy Jr., and you guys stay safe.